babe. You're rude.
How am I rude? I'm giving my opinion. Like, you've just given yours.
Well, like, you just given
Who are you to tell me to shut the fuck up?
Yeah, well, don't, because you just offended me, because you're just saying that.
Offended you? You've just said your reason, I'm saying mine.
Yeah, completely different. It was a jokey reason.
Relax.
Personally, I need a word with someone at Love Island because I don't quite get how Casey keeps coming back to back. He's been on 2 All-Star seasons, plus his season that he came in as a bombshell. And he's always been very unserious. He hasn't provided entertainment. We can't say he's entertaining. He's been there for a holiday. He's sunbathed, but nothing else. So the audacity to reward him with a date doesn't make any sense to me. And also the audacity to be offended when he's told that he's there for clout doesn't make sense to me, because he's had a lot of people slide into his DMs. He slid into a couple of Love Island girls' DMs. So why is he back on the show if he's not there for clout? Make that make sense? And also, I'm a bit surprised at his vim for Harriet. It seems Harriet telling him off when he tried to come at Harriet. I think his friend Chugs wanted Harriet. And when Harriet sort of didn't even entertain him, this is why he felt some type of way when he heard that Harriet is still open. So the audacity to be offended by whatever Harriet says doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 5,000. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island All Stars Season 2, Episode 24. So Danielle and Sammy have left the villa and everyone is feeling very low in mood. People are sort of I think those that were close to them are missing them. You have Chugs having a conversation with Tina and sort of telling her that he chose her because he felt he had a better connection with her and he can't wait to share a bed with her. And from her response that she gave, you could tell she really wasn't into him. She already told the girls in the morning that she really, at first when she saw Chugs, she didn't like him. At the moment, she's not sure how she feels about him. And this just confirms it, that she's really not into him. And sadly for Chugs, I don't know what it is, what the girls don't like about him. He comes across as a great guy, but it just seems the girls are just not feeling him like that. You have Sammy and Gabby having a conversation with Gabby sort of saying she misses, her friends. Every time one of her, someone she's very close to her leaves, she feels very sad. So Kaz left, now it's Danielle. And it's like, it is what it is. What do you expect? Anyway, if you are that miserable that your friend is gone, the door's open, just pack your bags and leave. I don't get why people become, if you're that emotional and if you're that affected by your friend leaving, the door's open. Let's keep it moving. You have Curtis and Ekin-su having a conversation with Omar and Catherine. And Catherine and Omar are sort of saying to them, Danielle and Tina came in knowing what they wanted and went for it. Sadly, it didn't work out for them, but at least it was able to provide clarity for the two of you. And it's like, did it really? I don't know. I think Curtis really liked Danielle. Curtis and sadly Luca had the same situation in the sense that they had to think of whether they really wanted a romantic relationship or whether they wanted the money. And so because they wanted the money, they decided to stick in the couple that they were in. That's my impression. That's what I got from their sort of denial to leave their coupling. The islanders get ready for the night. While they're getting ready, Casey receives a message. Gabby and Casey, it's time to go on a date. Please get ready to leave the villa. #first date flutters. And it's like, I think they did that because it's Gabby's birthday, but they haven't done that for anybody else, which makes me question again, why does Casey always get special treatment? Why is he brought back year after year? Does his granddad own the farm where Love Island is filmed or what? Or is he related to one of the producers? Make it make sense. I don't get it. So they get ready and they leave, and you have everybody sort of happy for them leaving. They're saying mom and dad have left. It's like, I really don't get it. I don't understand their connection. Maybe it's because we barely get to see them as a couple. Maybe that's why I don't quite understand it. You have the islanders come out and pick up their drinks. Chugs goes for a chat with Tina, and you have people by the fire pit listening in to the conversation. And it's like, why are we listening in? Why are we listening in? Because Chugs is trying to kiss Tina and he's told the guys that he's going to try and get a kiss. And it's like, maybe this is why the girls are curving him. Maybe they realize that all he wants is a kiss. If he really was looking to explore a connection and have conversations and chats. Then the kiss would come later. He doesn't need an audience to see him get a kiss. This is the second time he's getting pied. At this rate, you might as well just go home because all the girls are not feeling him. There's a reason why, Danielle didn't want to kiss him. And whatever it is, she must have told Tina, and maybe that's why Tina's refusing to kiss him and is telling him that she wants to take things slow. And it's like, but with Scott, you're already jumping each other's bones in bed. Make that make sense? You have Curtis sit down for a conversation with Elma. I don't even know the purpose of that. I really don't, because at the end of the day, Elma will only listen to Elma. As long as Elma is feeling validated and is happy that she's the number one person in that conversation, everything else doesn't matter to her. Everything else doesn't matter. So the idea that she would even, sit down, I wish she'd apologize. Yes, she understood where he was coming from. Yes, he understood where she was coming from. It seemed as though Curtis just did it just in case they need a vote. So he just wanted to ease the tension in the villa. It doesn't seem like he got whatever he wanted, because at the end of the day, this is who Elma has been from day one, and this is who she'll be until she leaves the villa and gets a wake-up call that actually she really was terrible in the villa. As far as I'm concerned, she really was very messy in the way she treated other people. As long as, she felt she didn't get her way. The only person she didn't go after is Harriet. And I'm surprised she didn't go after Harriet. I think it's because Ronnie told her, you better stay off. And this is when she realized that she couldn't get her way, because otherwise, she would have guilted her the same way she guilted Kaz and the way she's guilted Ekin-su. But for some reason, she stayed away from Harriet. And it makes me side-eye her that why is she doing this? Is she doing this because producers are pushing her to do it? Or is she doing it just because that's the person she is? You have Casey and Gabby on their date. They seem to be having a great time. I don't understand them as a couple as well. I really don't understand them. And I don't think Casey is ready yet, regardless of how many times he goes on Love Island. I don't think he's ready for a relationship. I really am curious as to what Casey did or what he says to the producers that allowed them to give him so much airtime and then he gets to go on a date. I really don't get it. The date was cute. It really was cute. I don't want to knock it. The fact that he asked Gabby to be exclusive, I'm side-eyeing him. What exactly are we missing about them as a couple? Because it doesn't make sense that they've decided to sort of be closed off, apart from the fact that they went to the Hideaway together and they haven't sort of talked to anyone else. We haven't heard their conversations. Half the time we see Casey sunbathing in his Speedos around the villa. So I don't get how they've gone from that to suddenly saying we're exclusive and we're closed off. Somebody needs to explain to me, because the math ain't mathing. You have Ekin-su having a conversation with Curtis, just showing appreciation or disclosing that she appreciates the fact that, he stood up for her when Elma was really having a go at her. So that was really a turn on for her. And it's something that most people wouldn't do for her. And so she's very appreciative of that. She's very excited. You have Gabby and Casey come back from, their date. They sit down with, Casey sits with the guys at the fire pit, and then you have Gabby sitting with the girls. And it's revealed that they've closed off. You can see that Sammy wasn't happy. Sammy was doing the math. I think Sammy's just there to win. He doesn't care what he does. He just wants to win the 25K, even though he won 25K last time. I think he wants to win the 25K and keep it stepping. Do I see them working as a couple? I don't know. I really don't know. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, a text message comes in and it's sent to Elma. The message is, Islanders, tonight the Hideaway retreat is open. Please choose a couple to spend the night together. Hashtag off the grid. And so someone calls out, that Luca and Grace, and then Ronnie calls out himself and Harriet. And so then it was now down to a vote. And it's like, Ronnie, he didn't even speak to Harriet. He just decided that they were going to the Hideaway. And so whether Harriet liked it or not, they were still going to the Hideaway. So then they decided to cast a vote. And Catherine, my love, I've said this countless times, don't fight other people's battles. For Catherine to say, oh, what about Ekin-su and Curtis? It's like, if they wanted to go, they would have offered their names up. Why are you fighting that battle? The fact that Ronnie told her that no, their names are not in the running, so there's no need to consider them. I was like, side eye. Anyway, eventually it was agreed that Ronnie and Harriet would go, because Grace said as long as she's in a bed with Luca, she doesn't care where they are. And it's like, she doesn't really. They've been doing it all over the villa on the day beds, when they spend the night in the day beds, in their bed, in the bedroom with others. So she's right that wherever they go, she's happy. Harriet and Ronnie get dressed to go to the Hideaway, and Ronnie puts on these short shorts on top of his, boxes, and it's like Ronnie's the fool. Ronnie really is a fool. Harriet, I loved the way she was dressed, how decent it was, the way that she was covered in all the right places. That I loved. So on their way to the Hideaway, you have Ronnie pull off his pants. The way Harriet screamed, "Ronnie!" and he quickly pulled them up. It's like Ronnie needs Harriet, because Harriet is his moral compass. She's his voice of reason. She's his calm, and she somehow manages to pacify him, which I really love for them. They went to the Hideaway. They were having conversations about them as a couple, and what they're going to do once they leave the villa. Because Ronnie is still adamant that Harriet is the girl for him. He doesn't see himself with anyone else, and she is yet to say anything. And I don't know whether this is something they agreed upon or whatever is going on there. You have Tina come out and sort of ask Omar and Chugs to have a conversation with the girls because she wants to talk to them. And then she reveals to Elma and Catherine that, when we were sat there with Chugs, he tried to kiss me, but I wasn't ready. I want to take my time. I think looking at it sort of analytically, I think the fact that Tina is taking things slow is one of twofold. The fact that because Chugs was coupled up with Danielle, who she had become close friends with, and also the fact that Chugs is close friends with Casey. Casey is a fool. We all know Casey is a fool. The way he moves between girls, and I think this is what she doesn't want, because she's already been used by Scott on TV, and she just doesn't want to be, something that the guys in the villa pass around from guy to guy to guy. Chugs is telling the boys, he's telling Sammy and Omar that, she pied me. I tried to kiss her and she pied me, and I don't get it because normally back home, this is not a problem for me. And it's like, well, it's not a problem for you, but remember, these girls have been on TV once, so they know the backlash that you can face by doing certain things. So I guess I get where she's coming from. She wants to make sure that you just didn't choose her because she was an option and that you were really serious about her. The islanders get ready for bed and everybody goes to bed. And it's like Luca and Grace. Luca and Grace are just there to enjoy themselves. This is what Grace looks like when she's with someone she really likes. Because with Ruben, she never did all this nonsense. She always kept to her side of the bed. He kept to his side of the bed. So I guess she really liked, because she has done every single thing with him in that villa. So in the morning, the islanders obviously wake up. Ronnie and Harriet go back to the bedroom and everyone is just, well, they're comfortable. The guys are mocking Ronnie that he looks well rested. And it's like, well, he didn't have people making 1,000 noises in the bedroom with him. And also he had the privacy of doing whatever he wanted to do with Harriet without having to worry about who's listening or who's looking. The main topics of conversation, they had a mini debrief. And the main topics of conversation are obviously the Chugs and Tina situation, the fact that Chugs was pied by Tina. And so he is just going to take his time about it. Lucas seems bored, as though he doesn't want to be there. And it's like, if he's bored, he can pack his bags and go home. Really, there's no need for him to stay in the villa. He can go home and focus on him and Grace. Anyway, Curtis receives a message. Islanders, it's your chance to let each other know how you really feel in tonight's challenge, to be honest. Hashtag honesty is the best policy. Hashtag force facts. And everyone is nervous because they don't know what the other people are going to say. Because normally they would get the viewers tweets and read them out. And I think they didn't want to do that. So they decided to sort of create drama amongst the islanders and make them, sort of go back and forth, I think, because the ratings are really low. And so the producers are looking for drama, for more action. Anyway, all the islanders get ready and they come out and they stand on podiums as couples. So they're given pictures of all the couples that are there, and then they get to sort of choose who they feel is relevant for the questions asked. Tina and Chugs are the hosts, and so the first question is, which couple is the most boring? And it's like, these questions are going to be crappy. Catherine, and it seems the majority, every couple except for Tina and Chugs, I think they're the only ones, and they're the only ones that voted for Luca and Grace. Everybody else voted for Tina and Chugs. And it's like, wow, how can you say they're boring? They haven't had an opportunity to sort of be a couple. They've only been coupled up for less than 24 hours. So how did you know whether they were boring or not? The next question is, which couple lack a sense of humor? I think some people were just doing default. So you have Catherine and Omar say Ronnie and Harriet, and I don't get it. I don't get it because they seem to be funny. Well, the consensus was Ronnie and Harriet are very funny as a couple, but then individually they're not as funny. Gabby and Casey agreed with that. Elma and Sammy voted for Chugs and Tina, and it was Elma and Sammy kept going for Chugs and Tina for reasons best known to them. Tina and Chugs went for Grace and Luca. Harriet and Ronnie also went for Chugs and Tina, and it's like, oh my God. Ekin-su and Curtis went for Harriet and Ronnie, and it's like, it's a common theme. Luca and Grace went for Chugs and Tina. I think it was just payback because they called them out. And then which couple has one partner who clearly wears the trousers? And I think looking at the couples, it's understandable that everyone would say Ronnie and Harriet because Harriet has really made Ronnie earn her. She's really made Ronnie earn her because he's really had to work hard because of the fact that she was upset from his behavior before they re-entered the villa. And then Harriet and Ronnie, they chose Grace and Luke. They're another couple where the lady wears the trousers because of how she ran him when he tried to explore things with Sammy. So that I agree with. That I definitely agree with. The next question is, which couple is most likely to cheat on each other? And it's like, oh, it's getting messy. So you had this consensus whereby people were sort of alternating between Chugs and Tina, I think as a default, or Ekin-su and Curtis. And for Ekin-su and Curtis, their justification was that, Curtis's head nearly turned for Danielle, so that's why we say that. You had people like Sammy saying, well, you said you were closed off. Even Casey, you said you were closed off, but then you decided to do that. That's more or less cheating because you're already exclusive. And it's like, I don't know. It was barely week 2, so that decision didn't make sense to a lot of people. Which couple, and then the fifth question was, which couple is most likely to get caught looking at each other's phones? And I loved Harriet's response. Harriet said, Omar and Catherine, just because Catherine is always going through Omar's pictures. So that was her justification, which I really loved. And then you had Omar and Catherine return the favor. They picked on Harriet and Ronnie. It didn't make sense. Harriet said she's never done that and she'll never do that. Casey and Gabby said Harriet and Ronnie. And it's like, it's now a theme. And then you had Elma and Casey go Ekin-su and Curtis. Curtis this time was annoyed because he said, it seems like you people have a grudge and that you're just calling us out. And at this point, for some reason, apparently Elma wasn't feeling well, so she went to bed. And it's like, nah, I don't think so. I think her feelings were hurt. I think there must have been a response to a question that we didn't see that made her cry. And so the producers just decided to let her stay because when Sammy came out and said, Elma's gone to bed, she's not feeling well, you could see the eye roll. Luca's face said it all. It said it all. You could tell he didn't believe it and he knew that it was a lie. You had Ekin-su and Curtis. They went for Harriet and Ronnie because they said there's been the cheating incident. Grace and Luca said they went for Harriet and Ronnie because Luca was trying to mutter something about Harriet having sort of chased down an ex or something like that. It didn't make sense to me, but that's just my opinion. And then the next question was, which couple is most likely to ditch their partner for a red carpet event? And everyone, Chugs was saying what sort of event, and so people just by default called out him. It's only Catherine and Omar who said, Curtis and Ekin-su, and it's like, why are we picking Curtis and Ekin-su? The same thing happened with Sammy and Elma. Curtis was already, his blood was boiling at this point. It was a consensus. Outside of Curtis, everybody else went for Chugs and Tina. And then you had Tina and Chugs go they went for Luca and Grace, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, people are being personal. People are really being personal. And so with Casey and Gabby, Casey clashed with Harriet because the last question was, which couple are in it for the clout? And for Casey to have the audacity to say Ronnie and Harriet, because you could have done this in the real world. And it's like, the same goes for you, buddy. Harriet was right to say, you've been in here 3 times. To have, Gabby say, oh, you know, third time is the charm. And it's like, are you serious, Gabby? Are you buying this nonsense? This man is not serious. We've all watched him on TV and how unserious he is. You had your friend Kaz call him out for how he treated girls on the outside. So the audacity to be offended that he's being called out for clout doesn't make sense. Catherine and Omar went for Curtis and Grace, and it's like, are they picking them because they're friends and they know that they're least likely to be offended, or are they picking them because there is actually beef that we don't know about? Gabby and Casey went for Harriet and Ronnie because his argument was you could have worked on the outside. Well, you didn't work on the outside, but you didn't want to. You wanted to come in for clout besides you've just been the season before. And it's like, seriously, you were in a season and then you came in for All Stars. So make that make sense. Suddenly it's Harriet. Oh, why are you here? You're here for clout. But you did the same thing when you came for All Stars 1. You just left the villa. So please take several seats. We're not buying your nonsense. You have Elma and Sammy. They went for Chugs and Tina, and it's like that's a default. People were either choosing Chugs and Tina if they didn't want to offend anyone for a question. That's the impression that I get. You have Tina and Chugs. They went for Harriet and Ronnie. They said for the same reason. And the reason why Chugs and Tina chose that, I think they were just backing up Chugs' friend Casey. There's no other reason to explain that or justify whatever choice they made. You had Harriet go for Chugs and Tina, if I'm not mistaken. And then because he was talking about the red carpet, which red carpet you'd attend, Ekin-su and Curtis went for Chugs and Tina, and then Grace and Luca went for Chugs and Tina. And it's like, this is personal. I can't wait to see the fallout. For Casey to be offended that Harriet has called him out, well, I didn't like her telling him to F off, to shut up. But at the end of the day, he started it. He's had a beef with Harriet that we haven't seen. I think it's something to do with Harriet not being open, or Harriet saying she's open to exploring connections with other people, even though she's entitled to do that. Nobody stopped him from exploring connections. He's been in countless times. He's used girls left, right, and center. So the audacity to be offended when somebody else tries to do that, I don't get it. I love how calm Ronnie was. I love how calm he was because he told Casey, you need to stop. And so for Casey to keep going and saying, well, she said this to me, I have to defend myself. It's like, you don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to defend yourself. You could easily have waited until the game is finished and then gone and had the conversation on the side. The idea that you suddenly close things off with someone doesn't wash well with me. I think he's done it because he wants to win the game, because you could see on Sammy's face that he was surprised that somebody had closed off before he did. I think he expected himself to close off things with Elma first. That way they stand a chance of winning. I can't wait to see the fallout. I really can't wait because I know it's going to be mad. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 23. Bye guys.